Hello all, I'm Patrice.
And I'm Whitney.
And we are the creators of the Artist's Guide to the Music Industry. So, what are we doing here with you all? Well, we've been in the industry for over a decade. And we've learned things that have been successful for artists and things that have let them down paths that we wouldn't recommend. So our sole mission here and why we started this is we want to be able to help other artists and pay it forward, because as do-it-yourself artists, right, we see what it's like when you're like, why isn't it happening? Why is this not happening? So today we want to cover something, because whether you are coming into this in the beginning of the year or in the middle of the year, it really can pertain to any time. But we have just hit the new year here, and so we want to talk about action and the importance of taking action. So we want to break down 3 things that you could be running into that you're not taking action. And then 3 ways that you can start to get the ball rolling. So, what do you think?
Yeah.
Ready to begin?
Yes, let's begin.
Are you ready to begin? All right, let's dive in.
All right, so why is it important to take action? Well, ultimately, action leads to results.
Yes, and you would think that's kind of straightforward, right? It'd be like, okay, that's common sense. But I think a lot of times there is that understanding, and then there's kind of the roadblocks that we put in our way. We're not immune to them, right? No. And from dealing with artists, we found there's 3 main reasons why people are kind of not putting their foot on the gas, and they're kind of stopping things. And so first and foremost, too much in your head. This can be like one of my culprits.
Yes, me too.
Right? So it can be like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. And then there's something to be said about you don't kind of know what works or doesn't work till you actually do it. So in a creative process, it's sometimes like just writing the songs, right? Not overthinking the songs, just getting stuff out. If you're feeling something, like just get it out, right? If you are putting together, what would be something else? I feel like writing's a way that I've gotten in my head. Not when it comes to putting together photo shoots and stuff like that. Like, you want to be planned.
Oh, yeah.
And you want things together. Mm-hmm. But it's like the seasons change, at least around here. So it's like overthinking things, trying to be so meticulous at times. And this doesn't mean that you just kind of like go with things and don't plan, because that's super important. But like sometimes there's an element of like being so picky or trying so hard for perfection, right, that it then never happens. Right? So that's first and foremost, is a lot of times it's like overthinking. It's getting too much in your head. Okay. So number 2, kind of ties in with number 1. And because of the overthinking, it could be because you're trying to be too meticulous, or you don't want things so perfect. But the other element can be you don't feel worthy. Imposter syndrome. This is like a huge thing in a lot of people's lives. And so with a lot of artists, we're striving for more and more. And I think there's a lot of noise that can come in and be like, I'm not good enough, or I want this, this song can be better. And so there's constant like, there can be motion, and then all of a sudden it's like, slam on the brakes.
Right. Yes. And you don't want to do that. I used to record a song and be like, this isn't like Carrie Underwood. And then I wouldn't ever show anyone it because it wasn't up to Carrie Underwood's level. Well, I wasn't either. But you can work your way to it. And I got way into my head.
But if you look at Carrie Underwood, right, from when she was on Idol to where she is now.
Oh, yeah.
It's night and day.
Of course.
She would never have gotten, and I think that's the biggest problem, is like we're constantly looking at end products, right, without actually looking at where these people started from, right, and what kind of shape they were in when they started.
Right.
So to your point, yeah, I mean, we want a product like Carrie Underwood, but the only way you get that is through actually doing things, right? You only get better at your vocals by doing, by practicing your vocals. If I was like, it's funny, it's like, I was like blasting Celine Dion. Celine Dion was like one of my like loves. In some reason this morning I was like, I'm gonna put Celine Dion. And I remember trying so hard to sing at the level of Celine Dion. And I was like, it was just rough, right? And I guess I just loved it so much, so I kept going with things.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I was like, damn, I can do a lot of these songs,
Nice.
right? But that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
When I really thought about it, it was kind of a moment of like, because I was like looking back and I'm like, gosh, I loved these songs so much, and would struggle and be like, struggle my way through them. And some of these hurting, or sometimes like, oh, I'm hitting some of these notes or not hitting some of these, and I was like wailing away, and I'm like, whoop, there goes another one, whoop, there goes another, whoop, there goes another, and it was like took me back to my childhood, like of being a kid and being like, I did this. This is what I had always wanted, and I'm there. So that being said, you know, when you run into those moments that you're kind of like feeling like you're not worthy or so forth, maybe take a moment and go as a good practice. Go watch the people you admire and see about where they started, or interviews with them and how they got past it, because I bet even now they deal with that too.
Okay.
So moving forward, they kind of all tie in together, and you might find you're more one or the other, or you're like, oh my God, I see myself in all three of these. And our hope is that it takes you past this into the action. So we'll get there with some tips on that. But one of the last reasons that a lot of people don't take action is they don't understand. And so when you don't have the tools, right, it becomes very hard. If you are practicing, but you're not practicing properly, you're not going to get the results.
Right.
So it's important to make sure, and again, some of these things can seem like, oh yeah, no, that just makes sense, but I don't know about you. But like, I don't always like, there'll be times that I'm like, no, that's right. It's kind of common sense, but I'm not doing that.
Yep.
I started to implement this more, rather than being afraid or of, oh, how can I do that? Where's the knowledge? Like, almost like the roadblock of like, where is this stuff, right? And then not doing anything because it's like, it seems so out of reach, or there's so much out there, that could stop kind of grabbing for finding the tools. Or just even getting in that mindset of like, okay, I have to find how to get this answer, right? So there's sometimes there's so much knowledge that it can be overwhelming, and then sometimes it's even just getting in like, nope, getting in that determinism that you're going to find the answers for this. And so that being said too, today we want to give you for free below this video, whether you're coming in from YouTube or other sources, so it's either going to be below or above, a freebie on basically how you can start to look at your brand. Because for a lot of people, if you're watching this and you're a beginning artist, or you've been doing some things but you want to refresh, this lesson is going to go over all the elements of what makes up a brand and how that can better you as an artist, ultimately to book gigs, to perfect your performance and so forth. But be sure, it's completely free. So we want to start to give you tools, right? We just talked about not having knowledge. Well, let us help you. So click below, sign up. It's for free. You can start to have that today. But let's move forward into 3 ways you can get that action going. So let's break those down.
All right. So what are the 3 things that you can do to take action? Number 1, are you ready? Set goals.
Yes.
It's important to set goals for yourself. Do it in the morning and night, right?
Yeah, I think it's important, you know, it's, again, the new year. Some people go, oh, and I think one of the bigger reasons people don't hit their goals is they don't actually target things out. So it's one thing to set your goals, and then it's a whole nother thing to then figure out how you're going to make that happen, right? And so when you set your goals, totally don't just look at them as if it's like, oh, I'm going to write this down once a year and all of a sudden it's going to happen. So it's like we have to write it down, think about it. What do we want to achieve within this year? What do we foresee in 5 years, right? So what do we want to do? And then how am I actually going to make that happen, right? So it's one thing, and that comes in the action. Like, what are the actionable steps? If I want to be an incredible vocalist, well, what are the actions I need to be doing daily? I need to be practicing. I need to be practicing properly, right? I need to be doing my scale work. I want to be a better performer. Okay, great. Well, what do I need to do? Analyzing performers. I need to be looking at their stuff on a weekly basis. You want to book gigs, right? What do we need to be doing?
Watch Netflix. Wrong answer.
I was like, wait, throw me on it. Watch Netflix.
No,
don't
see,
watch Netflix.
you know you were thinking it, and that is not going to get you anywhere. If you want to be booking gigs, you have to get everything in order.
You have to get everything in order. You have to make sure that you are looking at places to get gigs. Maybe it's Netflix. I don't know. Maybe you could be a performer on there. Different kind of route, but I mean, it could be a goal.
Contact your venues, know all the steps that need to be taken to do that properly.
Yeah, so that's what has to happen there, right? So setting goals, and I think there's so much to be said about writing them down morning and night. You know, I just did this morning, I dropped that out and I was like, I have to really get that in because it was a constant reminder for me to be like, okay, great, what is it that I'm trying to achieve in the long term? And then I can process that and look at what my big goals are, and then I can put them down and go, okay, what do I need to be doing today? What's one action? Maybe it's not 50 actions, but what is one action I can do today in order to start to make those happen? So that's number one, is set your goals. Number two is you have to get real about what needs to be worked upon, right? It's like it's not always easy to confront where we're at and where we want to go. I think it's easier to confront where we want to go. It's a little harder to go, but where am I really at? And then if you're ambitious and you have really big goals, it's not always easy to look at, gosh, if I'm confronting where I am and where I want to go, there's a lot that has to happen there. But it's okay. Putting in your mind that it can take time, and just like trees need certain amount of time to grow, flowers, certain things are quicker than others, some are seasonal, some are years. You know, an apple tree takes what? Do you know?
Probably 10 years.
Could take, yeah.
By the time the fruit starts going.
So, I mean, when you look at those things, you have to look at it in perspective to your goals, right? But it's okay. If you don't plant it, it won't come.
Right.
Sounds like that movie. It's a movie. Build it and they will come. Field of dreams. Field of dreams. It's like going back. It's like a 90s movie.
Noah's Ark. That's what he said, I think.
True. It could be a biblical sense, or it could be Kevin Costner.
Oh,
So that would be set your goals, and then the next thing to start taking action is be real with where you're at. And then again, what actionable steps can I be taking to improve myself on that end? And then number 3 is, what are we looking at there? We got a little cheat sheet.
Create a schedule.
Yes.
This is big for me.
Yeah.
I have my schedule. I still use the book paper because I have everything written down, what I need to be done. Then I can check it off, and it's really great. Just go when you do it.
See, or you had introduced me to Gmail, and they have the task bar right next to it. I like to put things in my phone. I like the reminder of it. So however it works for you. But I will say this much, when things are not planned out, there can be so many life distractions that take you off course. Right. So as much as you write your goals, you figure out where you're at, you figure out what you want to work upon. Then if you have the next step, then it's like, but I didn't put the time.
Right.
Like, when am I actually going to put in the time to make that action happen? Right? When am I actually going to put in the time to practice? Because you get a phone call from so-and-so, or you get this, or you get that. And so that is just so crucial. And for some people who aren't really scheduled people, start off slow on gradient, and see the results, right? This stuff doesn't come from us just saying this to do a video, just to say to you.
We didn't just make this up, okay? It's like, we did it. This is stuff that we use.
Yeah. And everyone operates differently, but I definitely would say that this is a huge factor in helping you start your course to taking action to reach your goals as an artist. So,
and you can always find time if it really is important to you.
Yeah.
You can.
That's another thing too. If you can't find the time to do certain things, you have to evaluate where you are, what you want, and if that's really realistic. That being said, be sure below this video, you can find a link other way around to that freebie that we have to offer today for you all. Also, if you like what you watch and you want to see more from us, be sure to subscribe. We are here to help you. We have weekly content coming out, and we want to be able to service you all and help you, because we know artists are vital for this world. We need lots of incredible artists, and these people here would not be here if they had stopped. And sometimes we all need some coaches to encourage. So, till next time, here's to taking some action.